Hello everyone, it is Claire and it's been a little while and I apologize. It's kind of hard to film here. I don't really have a filming space and it is a very small house, so there is very little time to myself, and there are relatively few times where I can be in the quiet. So this is a stolen moment of time, so I wanted to do this and I hope you will enjoy it. This sheet down here is my pen cloth where I mop up all my pen messes and stuff, and I'm only using this because I'm at my desk, but my desk has a glass top and my leather desk topper is still packed up. So in order for you to not see the camera and all kinds of glare, I'm using this. So I hope you don't mind. I hope it's not too busy. Just kind of the only thing I have at the moment. So today I am going to be reviewing, comparing, and contrasting two very popular pens that we all know and love. The WingSung 699 and the unbelievable, I couldn't even say the word, that's how great this pen is, but the unbelievable Pilot Custom 823. So I'm going to give you my honest review of both of these pens. Now, if you want to know the specs for these pens, then you're going to probably need to go watch another person's video, because I am just going to be talking about what I like about these pens, what I don't like about these pens, and the obvious differences between them. So full disclosure, I did receive this Pilot Custom 823 as a gift from an incredibly generous benefactor. Full disclosure, again, this is currently, and has been since it arrived, my very favorite pen. There has not been a time in the past month where this pen has not been inked. So we're going to get to that, and I'm going to talk about the good and the bad and all that's in betweens of both of these two pens. So I'm going to put the Pilot Custom 823 aside for a moment, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the WingSung 699. So let's get the elephant in the room out of the way, immediately, right off the bat. This is a very well-made clone of the Pilot Custom 823. It is just simply that. Every single piece on this pen is made to emulate the Pilot Custom 823. Is that a bad thing? Actually, in my opinion, it's really not, and I will tell you why. If you, like straight off the bat, 100% straight from my heart, if you are the pen lover who cannot afford a Pilot Custom 823, if it is not ever going to be in your pen budget, then the WingSung 699 may be the pen for you. So let's talk a little bit about this. So this is in the colorway Amber. They also have a blue one, a clear one, and a smoke one that I believe you have to order from overseas. As you can see, it looks just like the Amber Pilot Custom 823. The difference is, well, the obvious difference here is the pin clip. It does not have the pilot ball at the bottom. The finial is the same. This is the part that you unscrew to pull out the plunger. That's the same. The entire mechanism on the inside is the same. Here you will see, I don't know if you can see, that's not gonna let you see. The inside, I think it's called the blind cap on the WingSung 699, is transparent, meaning that you can look inside the cap and you can see the nib. You open it up, it has a large number 15 nib. This is a steel nib, but and it comes in a fine nib, but I am going to say, as steel nibs come, this is an excellent steel nib. This nib writes so smoothly. There is a tiny bit of feedback because it is a fine, but it's not unpleasant feedback at all. It has a plastic feed. Here it has the transparent section. Don't know if you can see, and you can see a little bit, where you can see your ink and where it goes into the feed. It unscrews from here so that you can actually use a syringe. You can use a syringe and ink to put ink into the body of this if you maybe have a vial of ink that you want to use, but it's not deep enough to actually insert the section and the nib into, and to do the plunger thing, and to use the vacuum filler option on here. So you just unscrew this from the top and you open this up just a little bit and pull the plunger down, and then you can use your syringe and ink, and you can inject the ink into the barrel. So that's really nice. So just like the Pilot Custom 823 right here, I'm not going to unscrew it all the way because I have ink in here right now, but you unscrew maybe 4 or 5 screws, and then you pull the plunger out, and then you will put your section and the nib into your ink, push the plunger back in, and then the vacuum action fills up your ink chamber in the barrel. Then you close this back up, and now when you do want to write with it, you need to unscrew a bit and remove, and just kind of pull it just a little bit so that the plunger, the O-ring at the top, pulls away from the hole where the ink goes up to flood the feed. So that gives a full ink flow. When you are done, you simply screw it back and you're good to go. Now, if you don't want to unscrew the back to write, you can write for a short time with just the ink that's in the feed. I've done that before and it's been fine. So this pen right here will cost you about $29 on Amazon. I've had this pen for 6 months and it is one of my very favorite pens, and I use it. If you've seen any of my what I inked for the month of videos, you'll see this, that I've inked this up several times every month since I got it in December, the end of December. Let's see. So I will say on here, if you like looking into, see this is considered transparent, but the barrel on the 699 is quite a bit darker than the barrel on the 823. So when you look in here, you can't really see very well how much ink you have left, especially if you're using a dark ink. In the right light you can see, but in the wrong light it's really kind of hard to see. Whereas the barrel on the 823 is much more transparent and you have no problem seeing your ink level in that at all. Has that bothered me with this pen? No, not really. It's almost always inked up and with the same ink, so that hasn't really bothered me at all. So this cap band here, it says WingSung 699, made in China. So it's very different from the 823 band. These are I believe these are just steel, maybe metal findings that are on here, and they're just kind of painted over with gold so that they look very dashing. Will these hold up over the years? Will they still look nice and fancy and pretty over the years? I don't know. I've only had this guy for 6 months, so only time will tell. This pen does feel like a very substantial pen when you hold it in your hand and you write with it. It is weighted very nicely. The nib has a little bit of feedback, but it's not unpleasant at all. there is a little bit of a sweet spot, but I've been writing with it long enough to where I found that sweet spot and I'm always able to get back to it. It's a not too wet, not too dry writer. It's just kind of right in there, right where a nice, good writing fine should be. This is a Chinese fine. So it's not as fine as a Japanese fine would be. I would say this is probably right in the middle between a fine and a medium. And it's a nice dual tone nib. And, it writes really well. I was very surprised and very shocked when I pulled this out of the box. I was shocked by how much it really does look just like the Pilot Custom 823. It made me feel very fancy. I do consider this, and maybe it's just because I don't have the same kind of pen collection that other YouTubers do. I don't have Leonardo Momento Zero blah 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 pens. I don't have a lot of the same pens that other YouTubers do. So I do actually, even though I have a couple pens that are expensive, I do consider this as one of my fancier pens. What else can I say about this pen? Let's see, like I've already said, the clips are the same, or not the same, the clips are different, but the profile of the pen in general is the same as the 823. This pen is a little lighter than the 823, making the 823 feel a bit more substantial. The plastic on the 823, I will be completely honest, the plastic on the 823 feels more, it just feels better in my opinion. This isn't bad plastic. This doesn't feel like a light, sailor pen. This is definitely more substantial, completely substantial than a sailor, or even for a short time I had a Pelikan M200, and this feels more substantial than that one did as well. Both with the sailor and the Pelikan M200, I felt like my grip was going to break them. I have no problems gripping this pen with a very tight grip, which I do have. I'm never afraid that I'm going to break this pen. It's just, if like I said before, if an 823 is never going to be in your future, or even maybe if it's in your future years from now, or maybe you want to try something else, try another pen that's like the 823 just to kind of decide if the 823 is for you, then I would recommend the WingSung 699, hands down. It's a great pen. I love it. It will always be in my collection, and I feel like you can't go wrong with it. WingSung have great nibs. They write smooth, and I've never met a WingSung I didn't like. Now, that doesn't mean I have a whole bunch of them, but maybe the ones that I have just been really, really great. They've been good to me. I'd say this pen has been good to me in the 6 months that I have had it. So I hope that means something to one of you who's maybe considering this pen. So now I'm going to put this pen to the side, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the 823, but first I'm going to kind of do like a little comparison up here again. Let's see. So as you can see, their profile is just about the same. The big difference is the clip. There is the area right here between the two cap bands. Obviously, this one says Pilot Custom 823, made in Japan. The findings on here, this is a brighter gold color than the one on the WingSung 699. I'm pretty sure you can see that too. So it's brighter, definitely looks more polished and shiny, and it just looks more clever, looks more dashing. As you can see too, you can see inside the barrel here. My ink is about up to right here, but you can see inside the barrel and you can see the rod, whereas here on the 699 you cannot. And that's what I was talking about, how it's darker. than the 823. I happen to like that the 823 has a more transparent barrel because I do like being able to see my ink level. Though I'll say that since the 823 came into my life around the second week of May, there has not been a time where it has not been inked up. As soon as it's dry, I ink it right back up. So I have been writing actually with both of these guys nonstop for the past month so that I could do as thorough a job as possible, giving you the comparison and the contrast and you know what I love and what I don't love about these pens. So far, if you're watching this and you've made it this far, I love both of these pens. I'm going to say it. I would not give up either of these pens at all, especially not the 823. This 823 was gifted to me by a wonderfully generous woman. This will always be in my life. I cannot fathom or imagine a time right now in the near future or distant future when this pen is not going to be inked up. I love writing with this pen. So now I'm going to put the 699 away for a bit and I'm going to talk about the 823. Oh my gosh, where to begin? This pen has a medium nib on it on the 15 karat or size 15 14 karat gold nib. It is just a beauty of a nib. You can see that the section on the 823 is not transparent. It's opaque, so you can't see the inside of the feed and you can't see your ink in there. But now you can see a little bit better how transparent the barrel of the 823 is. So you can see the rod and you can see up here the rubber O-ring. And when the finial is pushed in and the rod is up, it keeps the pen from leaking. Say if you were going to go on an airplane, it keeps the pressure equal. When you want to write with it, you unscrew, pull it out. And I will say this much too, on this pen, on the 823, I only have to unscrew maybe 3 times and the rod comes down pretty much immediately and I don't even have to pull it out a little bit. Now on the 823 or on the 699, I mean, I have to unscrew like maybe 6 times and then pull the rod down just a smidgen for that O-ring to move so that there's full flow of ink. That's a difference. Let's see, what else can I say? Now, see, I apologize because you can probably hear in the other room. I cannot get people in this house to be quiet while I film, so I do apologize that you can hear what's going on in the other room. Now, the interior cap in the 823 cap is opaque. So whereas the cap in the 699 is transparent, so you can look in there and you can see your nib. In the 823 it's opaque. But that hasn't bothered me at all. It's actually, it looks nice. Overall, I really like the look of the 823 better. I prefer the transparent barrel. I prefer the opaque section and interior. I think it's called the blind cap. It's easier to unscrew. I don't have to pull out the rod to have, you know, a good ink flow into the feed. Now, when I am filling these up, when I unscrew the 699 and I remove the rod all the way so that I can refill this, the 699 does give me a little bit of friction. Maybe it just means that I need to take it apart, which I can do, and I need to oil up or silicone grease the O-ring so that it's easier to move. I will probably do that soon. It's probably something that I will do on the 823 as well, but so far the 823 hasn't given me any kind of resistance at all when it comes to refilling it. Oh, so both of these pens are in a completely different league. The 823 is obviously a Grail pen for many. This was my Grail pen as well, and it is still my Grail pen. This is a phenomenal pen. Right now you can find them new on Goulet and other websites for about $288. You can find them on Amazon from the same price, all the way up to actually more, depending on, I guess, where it's shipping from or the store. I'm not sure. You can occasionally find these on eBay, but I recommend buying from a website, buying it new. That's just what I recommend. Now, if you happen to find, just because I haven't seen any selling on Mercari or anywhere else, I very rarely have seen anyone on any of the fountain pen Facebook groups selling these either. And I think it's because once people get these in their fountain pen collection, they don't want to give them up. I know that the woman who gifted this to me, it was probably very hard for her to let this go to me. I'm sure it was, but I am so in love with this pen and so thankful for her extreme generosity. This is going to be a pen that I will eventually one day hand down to one of my children or my grandchildren, or if they don't want this pen when I'm too old to write anymore, then it will be buried with me. This pen is coming with me to the grave. That's it. You know what? I'm not handing it down. This pen's coming with me. Let's see. What else can I say? I don't know. I mean, both of these are just really, they're great pens in their own right. If you can't afford a Pilot Custom 823, your $6.99 on Amazon is the way to go. This is going to be the pen that either pushes you to say, you know what, I'm going to invest in the 823, or you're going to say, this pen right here is fine for me. I don't need an 823 because I have everything that an 823 has right here in this $30 price tag. Now, the gold nib on the 823 writes so smooth. It is like writing with butter on buttered paper. Like if you had a piece of paper and you had a pat of butter on the piece of paper and this nib was on there and it had butter on the bottom of it too, and you were writing with butter on butter, like hot melted wet butter on Texas toast, kind of soft. That's how soft the nib on the 823 is. It's so good, and it's a wet writer too, so it's a medium, but it's not an overly broad medium. But if you like wet writers, this is your pen. The fine nib on the 823 is in between wet and dry, in my opinion. There is a sweet spot to it, and you have to find that, and it's probably a sweet spot that's going to be different for each individual pen. I was lucky that I was able to find mine. I didn't have to tune this pen at all, so no micro mesh, no work at all went into this nib. It wrote great. It still writes great. I enjoy writing with both of these pens equally, but I do get a little bit more excited when it's time for me to write with my 823. I pick it up and I'm like, oh, you're so beautiful. This is like, if the Pilot Custom 823 was the most beautiful pen in the world, the 699 would be the third runner-up. Do you get what I'm saying? She's not the first runner-up or the second runner-up. She's like the third runner-up. That's where I'm gonna put it there. This is not your $100, $200 pen. They're in leagues of their own. The quality is different, but like I said, if your writing experience is going to be limited by your budget, then the 699 is your way to go. If you have it in the budget, if you can save for it, or if you have the expendable income to get your Grail pen and it is the 823, I would so recommend it. This pen has been an absolute joy to write with since the moment that I unwrapped it. I literally ran to my room like a giddy, ridiculous schoolgirl, inked it up, and it has not been uninked since. I have written this thing dry probably 6 times already, and I just keep inking it right back up. This is my second inking right now of Peter Moss from Ferris Wheel Press. This has been inked with only green inks since I got it, and it will probably stay that way. I currently have in here KWZ Discovery Green, and I like that in here in my 699 too. So this will always be green inks, and this will probably always be KWZ Discovery Green. I don't really know what else I can say other than these are both great pens in their own right. I don't think you will be disappointed with your WingSung 699, and you definitely will not be disappointed with your Pilot Custom 823. They are both great pens. This is a great $30 pen. I definitely feel like it's worth the price, and it's even worth more than the price. How much more? I don't know. I don't really know. I just know that you're getting a lot of pen and a really good nib for $30. With the Pilot Custom 823, you are also getting what you paid for. This is going to be a legacy pen for you to keep and use. Now, there's some legacy pens out there, some Grail pens out there that you get them, but you're not supposed to use them all the time. Like, you know, the Urushi pens, or the, you know, the super fancy $500, $600, $1,000, you know, the pens that people buy to show off that they have really expensive pens. You know, they ink them up, take some videos, do some pictures, and then they're so special that they have to be put back in their box, and then you don't touch them. This is not that pen. This is the pen that you're going to want to have inked up at all times, and you're going to keep it in your pen roll, and you're going to keep it in your pen case, and it's going to be an everyday carry pen for you. Now, I don't leave the house with this pen at all. I had no problem back in the day when I had a Meistersuck 149. 146. I had no problem leaving the house with that pen. And even though it was an expensive pen, I got it for a really wonderful price from a wonderful man. And I am totally a believer if, you know, these pens are meant to be used. Take them with you so that people can see you writing with them and people can ask questions. Don't let them write with your pens though, especially if it's a Pilot Custom 823. But because this was a gift to me and it is incredibly special to me, it stays, when I'm not writing with it, it's in my pen case and it stays there. When I leave the house, I have no problem taking my 699 with me or whatever other pen is next up in my rotation. Usually I take my whole pen case with me, but I do leave this one at home in another pen case that is very safe. Yes, just because it's that special to me. Now, if I were out there and something were to happen to my 699, I would be very sad because I do really like this pen. I enjoy it, but I would not be nearly as sad if something were to happen to my 823. So, I mean, I guess that's really, that's pretty much what I have to say about both of these pens. These are both great pens. I don't think you would be dissatisfied with either of them. And yeah, I hope this video has helped you in some way. I hope you have found a little bit of value from it. If you're on the fence about the 699, jump the fence and go grab you one on Amazon. If you're on the fence about the Pilot Custom 823 and you have the budget to get this Grail pen, by all means get it. You will not be sorry that you invested in such a wonderful pen that you will have for the rest of your life. You won't be sorry. The writing experience is a dream. It is unbelievable. Everything about this pen is just sublime. That's my take on it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what I do on this video, on my videos, if you are interested at all in supporting or helping out my channel, I encourage you to visit my Ko-Fi link, which I will have in the description below. You can donate any amount one time, and it would help my channel out so much, and I would very, very, very much appreciate it and be very grateful for anything you choose to donate to help out my channel. So I could just thank you guys so much for watching. Go get the pens. Go get them. Definitely. Thanks, guys, and I wish you awesomeness and greatness and all of the nisses out there. Go get the pens. Bye-bye.